Hi everyone, welcome to Stand Up America. My name's Dave Frank, and today we're going to talk about positive things. I know sometimes it's hard because, you know, with the media the way it is, it's reporting on a lot of negative things happening in our country and in our community, but we've got a plan that we want to talk about. I think we can fix a lot of the problems in our community. And today with me I've got my buddy and fellow activist, Jesse. Welcome to the program, and thanks for being here.
Good to be here, Dave.
Ladies and gentlemen, look, unless you're living under a mushroom, you realize that we've got a lot of problems in our community, and we've got to fix these problems, and I think that we've got a great plan to do it. You got a TV? Yeah, I'm sure you do. You're watching it right now. You've got a touch-tone phone? Well, most people do. And there's really no reason why in the 21st century in our community we can't start using our television to watch issues debated over the television, and we can vote with any touch-tone phone. That's the plan in a nutshell. Jesse, what do you think? We're already voting on what? American Idol?
Dancing with the Stars, several programs, you know. Even sometimes on Survivor, you know, they vote for the top player of the week or whatever. So, I mean, the technology's there. People are already doing it. So how much simpler can it be, you know? Go ahead and debate something on the television and radio and pick your phone up and vote on it.
Why not? I can't think of a reason. And, you know, when you think about it, nothing's really working anymore. You know, our education system's in trouble, our environment's in trouble, the tax system's totally out of control. I think anyone that's had anything to do with the judicial system or the penal system knows that both of those systems are basically broke. And I think the good news is that we, the people, can fix these problems. But I don't think that we can rely on the politicians to do that for us. And nothing against the politicians, Jesse. I think they're all basically good people. But, you know, whenever you give a small number of people the ability to tax us and to make our laws, you know, inevitably, though that small group of people start feeding their friends and their cronies, and the next thing you know, all that tax money that we, the people, put together on a community basis, it goes for bogus projects, and it doesn't really help the people in our community.
You know, our parents used to tell us they give you an inch and you take a foot. You know?
Right.
And I mean, it's basically the same type of situation when you empower these people with so much control. And I mean, you know, we've got our president, you know, on down to our local mayor, both touted during their campaigns about transparency, you know, open door policies. We want people to know. Well, we don't really see that right now, not to the extent we would like. And if we get this program up and running, that's one big major thing that is going to allow us to have transparency. We're going to know, you know, what the issues are. We're going to know what the people are saying about these issues. And then we'll also know who voted yes, who voted no. So we'll be able to keep a little closer rein on whether or not these politicians and elected officials are honestly doing what we, the people, put them in office to do or not.
Absolutely. And all we need to do is put a plan together, and that's what this program is really all about. As Jesse said, we're voting on American Idol, we're voting on CNN, we vote on Fox, we vote on Dancing with the Stars, we vote on just about everything, and the corporations have gotten very smart. They're asking us to vote on certain things because what they're trying to do is provide us with what we want. Well, the same thing should hold true in our community. You know, our school system should be a reflection of what we, the people, want for our children, but the problem is they haven't been asking us. The good news is that they can now use the technology, the communication technology that we've never, ever had before to start really fixing our education system, our environment, and the issues that are really frustrating the people in our community. And the exciting thing about it, Jesse, is when we fix our community and we set up a system like this, they can set up a system like this in every community. When we find things that work in our community, we can share it with other communities, and when they find things that work, they can share it with us, and we can start rebuilding our piece of America from the ground up.
Oh, definitely a nice networking plan.
Right.
To where the people have a little more control and a little more say in what's going on. I mean, right now, we've got, let's say for city council, you've got 9 council members who who are making decisions for the entire city of South Bend. And even when citizens come out to a meeting, let's say it's a particular topic that rubs people the wrong way. So at the greatest, you might get 100 people to crowd that room.
Right.
But that 100 people is just a drop in the bucket of the total
267,000 people
total
in St.
voice
Joe
of
County.
South Bend. So, I mean, really, you know, you don't have much say. This would make it so easy for people to, you know, vote on the issue and, hey, this is my opinion, you know. And we'll get some true numbers then. Then you're allowing everybody, if they choose to vote on a topic, to go ahead and put their vote in, and we'll know what those numbers are.
There you go. And really, when you think about it, there's really no way that anybody can represent you unless they communicate with you. I'm 65 years old now. I've never been asked my opinion on any issue. How about you?
I'm close to 50, and you know, all I can say is the only thing I've ever had any questions on, you get a survey once in a while in the mail.
Right.
But it's usually not from a government official.
Right.
But yeah, as far as, you know, politics in town locally, things of that nature, you might get a little flyer in your electric bill, which most of us really don't pay much attention to those. We'll go sit at a meeting or something, but those go in the trash, you know.
Right.
So you really don't have much input on anything.
Well, look, all we need is a plan, and apparently the politicians aren't going to bring us the plan because they're set, they have a voice, we want a voice. So here's the plan very simply, ladies and gentlemen. Look, as I said before, you got a TV, yeah? You got a touch-tone phone, yeah? Well, why don't you just watch issues over the TV and vote by phone? Our goal is to build a community, local issues television and radio channel so that you, the people, when you have ideas to make education better, the environment better, taxation, whatever it is, you could present your ideas directly to the community over the TV and the radio. We can debate your ideas because we want people to be educated on the issues before they vote. And then we will present the debates to the community over the local issues television and radio channel. People can then vote with any touch-tone phone. In fact, you can borrow your neighbor's if you want. Your call will go into a community computer that will be the citizen database so that when you vote, it'll ask you for your ID number and your PIN number to verify you as a voter, ask you what issue number you'd like to vote on, press 1 for yes, 2 for no, count your vote, block you out from voting more than once. Every time the debate on this issue or this idea is replayed, the updated tally of the issue will be given, and we can give that information to our elected representatives so that they can know how we feel about the different ideas that the people have in the community.
Can you imagine what would happen if we already had this program up and running, let's say with the Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act?
That doesn't work.
That you can't even really get online and look at. The phones would be burning up with people trying to vote.
Right, right.
So,
well, you know, really, when you think about it, too, our education system started, you know, when I was a kid, it was basically the parents and the teachers working together. They'd come together at a school and they'd raise an idea. Somebody would come up with an idea to make the education system better. What they would do is they'd debate the idea because they wanted to look at this idea in different perspectives. And then people in the with the PTA would vote on it, and then they'd implement it in their schools. Well, now in the 21st century, you know, people are so busy they don't have time to go to the PTA anyway, and I don't even know if they still have one. The school board basically took over where the PTA was doing a good job. Now we've got 7 people on the school board that do our thinking for us, and you know, we can now have an electronic parent-teachers association over our local issues television and radio channel, and the people in our community can get busy fixing our education system, making it better than ever before.
well, and Dave, we just had an instance in Mishawaka last week where it cost the city over $30,000 to do a referendum vote about money they wanted for the schools to do repairs. And they spent all this money to have this vote done, when if we would have had this program running, you could have had that referendum vote done via this program at almost no cost to the city itself.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And, you know, I was happy that the referendum vote went out. The majority of the people voted no, so it didn't pass. And but they had a very low voter turnout. A lot of people don't want to come out in bad weather. A lot of people are elderly that don't want to come out, but they still want to have their voice heard. So this is going to allow a lot more people to be heard and be able to vote without being afraid to drive through a neighborhood or go out in bad weather, you know, or people that are handicapped that have problems getting out of their home or to the polls. This would be beautiful.
Absolutely. And I think they'd be able to understand the issue a little better in its entirety, as opposed to getting little pieces or clips from the newspaper or whoever's, you know, sharing their ideas with the community.
Exactly. And I mean, even if you try to research it through the city council's page or, you know, the county, whatever the situation is, when you try to research and look at those, it gets very confusing. So if you have it debated and it's posted in everyday layman's terms instead of all the legal issues in there, it's going to be much easier for them to realize, hey, we're voting because the city wants, the school system wants $28 million to do maintenance work on the schools.
Right.
And, you know, there you have it. You don't have to read through 2,500 pages such as you do with the Obamacare.
Right. Well, you know, the television's being used in a lot of different ways, and I think it's really important that we start using the television in a real constructive way because, I mean, we know that the television is being used to program us to be oversexed and overviolent. Now we can start to use it as a tool to really empower the people and get the people thinking about their piece of America because, you know, ladies and gentlemen, if we get busy fixing our piece of America, our community, and everybody around the country gets busy fixing their own piece of America, the next thing you know, Jesse, America can be fixed. But I don't think it's going to happen from the top down. I think it has to happen from the ground up.
It has to be a grassroots effort, you know. I mean, that's just bottom line. And, you know, you talked about, you know, the way we need to fix everything. I mean, it's so broken right now, it's scary.
It is scary. And, you know, with the economy the way it is, I think they've imposed a tax system on our communities, whether they did it on purpose or by accident. What they've basically done is sucked all the cash out of our communities so that we can't barter with each other. That's why business is bad, and when business is bad, there aren't any jobs because businesses aren't hiring. And I'm not talking about big business. I'm talking about the kind of business that actually built our community and built America. And the thing is that once we put this tool in place and we give the business owners a real voice where they can start raising these issues, we can start looking at these unfair taxes that are being imposed on the community, on the businesses. And the next thing you know, if we can say no to these taxes, and all of a sudden we can start fixing our community, letting the businesses start to thrive again, all of a sudden there's jobs. And I believe that when there's more jobs, crime will go down because, you know, if these kids don't have jobs, if jobs aren't available, these kids are going to go out and figure out a way to get money somewhere, and what are they going to do? They're going to start dealing drugs. The next thing is they're going to end up in jail. They're going to end up in prison. That's not doing anybody any good unless it's if
things don't change, it's not just teens out there. You've got adults.
You're right, Jesse.
Who you would never, ever imagine going out and, you know, trying to rob a bank or steal, that are having to go out and steal meat or bread to feed their families.
Absolutely.
And when you get to that point, there's a serious problem. And we definitely need to address that, and very quickly, you know.
Well, before we can address it, we have to put the tools in place. And the goal our goal is to use public broadcasting to actually broadcast the public. And this is the only non-commercial broadcasting network across the country that's not controlled by the corporations, but it's really owned and supported by the people and the American people. And I think that it's time that we really change the format for public broadcasting, where we use it as our local issues, television and radio channel, where we, the people, start coming up with solutions. You know, Jesse, we can't sit here and wait for the people in Washington, the 535 people in Washington who don't live in our community, to come up with these solutions. And we can't wait for the people in Indianapolis, the 150 who are making decisions for the 6 million in the state of Indiana. And we really can't wait for the people on the city council to do it for us either. We've got to start coming up with these solutions. We've got to start tapping into the collective consciousness of the people in our community. There are brilliant people in our community. There are people that have wonderful ideas, common sense, and these are the ideas that have built our community initially, and these are the ideas that are going to fix our community.
Well, you have to think back when, back when things were easy, I guess. Businesses started out as little mom and pop shops.
That's right.
I don't care if you're talking about Studebaker, Ford, who, whatever.
Right.
They started as little mom and pop operations. Somebody had an idea, they put it into action, and then from there they grow. And we need to start some of this mom and pop stuff back up again. And it really seems like our system now kind of smashes the mom and pop down and allows for the big corporate gurus to do what they need to do. And I mean, that's really sad, because the people are the backbone.
Right.
I mean, no matter how you look at it. And every employer should realize that your employees, they're the backbone of your company. Without your employees, you got nothing.
Absolutely. And that's what this is all about. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, giving the people in our community a real voice, giving the businesses a real voice, and relying on ourselves to evolve into adulthood. We're sitting here like little children waiting for people in Washington, D.C. or Indianapolis or downtown to give us the solutions to these problems, and a lot of the problems actually come from them. These are like man-made problems that we're dealing with, but we've got to come up with solutions so that you, the people, can start really designing the kind of community that you want for yourself and your children. And this is the way it can work very simply. We need a filtering system. We don't want to sit here and watch silly issues presented by people in our community. So what we're going to do is, after we get our public broadcasting station up and running and actually broadcasting to the public, and we get our database filled with people who want to vote on these issues, what we're going to do is let the database pick 10 people at random for us every week, and they're only going to be there for a week. The same reason the judicial system gets rid of a jury after every issue, so the money and the influence doesn't basically corrupt them. So every week we're going to find 10 new people that are going to be basically representatives in our community. If you have an idea that you think the community can make the community better, you can present your idea to these 10 people. If the majority of these people think that this is an idea that should be considered, 6 of the 10, then you can go to the next step. The next step is videotaping you and your idea, presenting it to the community over our local issues television and radio channel. And there will be 2 phone numbers that will be given. One number people can call and be part of a lobbying group for the issue. One number you can call and be part of a lobbying group against the issue. When you call either one of these numbers, information will be given to you as to where and when these 2 lobbying groups are going to come together and debate. And what we'll do is videotape this debate, and we will assign an issue number to this issue, and then we will present this to the community over 10 days. Over a 10-day period, and anybody that's interested in this issue can pick up any touch-tone phone. You'll call a local number, it'll go into the database, it'll verify you as a voter with an ID number and a PIN number, ask you what issue number you want to vote on, press 1 for yes, 2 for no, count your vote, block you out from voting more than once. Every time the debate is replayed, there'll be an updated tally of the yeses and the nos, and at the end of 10 days, not only will the community be educated on this issue, but the outcome will come from you, the people, and we will start finding solutions to the problems in our community.
And we need solutions. I mean, Dave, you look at the, local media, and, you see everything that's printed, 90% of it is for ratings. Mm-hmm. And we all know those ratings at some point turn into dollars.
Right.
So you could go to them with the best story in the world, but if it's not going to bring them ratings,
they don't care.
They don't want it.
Right.
So we need to get this taken care of, because right now we've got people out there that are dying every day.
They are.
And a lot of it is because we don't have the jobs here that we need that provide enough money for people to live on. And they turn to crime. Granted, you've got certain people that are going to be criminals there regardless, or maybe it's someone feeding a drug habit. But there are people out there being killed because there's not enough money in our community any longer. And we know why that is. It's all being sucked out via taxes. Our taxes go down state. Let's say we send $1 billion down. Well, then they divvy it out through the whole state. And we may only get $250 million back.
Right.
And I mean, that's a big part of what's killing us right now.
And mathematically, after you do that year after year, you know, after a period of time, they have all the money. And if you look at the state capitol, it looks like the Emerald City. And you look at our community, the streets are bad, the crime is high, and people are actually dying from lack of health care because they can't afford it.
I was talking to someone today, and they made a comment, well, Indianapolis is really picking up. And I said, well, think about that.
Right.
Indianapolis has funds from every county, which there's 92 counties, I believe,
Yeah.
that all get pulled together here in Indianapolis, and then Indianapolis decides what they're going to send to who. And obviously, if Indianapolis wants a certain amount, they're able to keep, you know, what they need. So
Sure.
they're going to thrive.
Sure.
And, you know, when you've got cities filing bankruptcy,
All
I
over
mean,
the place.
you got to think about that. That's sad.
Yeah.
You've got states that are wanting to secede from the
Right.
United States.
Right.
We've got a problem, and somehow, we have to be able to fix that. It needs to start on a local level, which is
Absolutely.
what we're trying to do, and it needs to happen now, because if we wait too long, number one, we may not be here to push this any longer. And, you know, think about what our kids and our grandchildren and everybody else's kids and grandchildren are going to be, you know, living in another 5-10 years down the road.
Well, you know, I've been an activist for 25 years now, and I know you've been an activist, and I'm doing this for my kids and their kids and all of the kids, and I'm sure you are too. And we all have to come together, and we've got to realize that if we keep doing the same thing that we've been doing over and over, we're going to get the same negative results. We've got to come up with a plan. We now have the communication technology that we've never, ever had before. I mean, you can read all the history you want, and they've never had the ability
Right.
to communicate like we can now. We've got to use this communication technology. I've presented this to almost all the politicians in St. Joe County. They really aren't that excited about it. They aren't pushing it, so we the people have to push it. We the people have to let them know that this is the plan that we want in our community to give each and every one of us a real voice. I mean, think of it, Jesse. Hey, I don't care who the 9 people are on the city council or the county council. There's no way that 9 of the smartest people, even if they were the smartest people, can know as much as 90,000 people in our community.
Well, and you have to think about it, Dave. You know, these politicians, if they're a good politician, this could be used as a huge catapult.
Absolutely.
Because you've probably got a vast number of them that are scared. Because if you're promoting transparency, they can be called on the carpet for an issue that the people didn't want but they voted for.
Sure.
Okay, so there's a little concern there. But if you're an honest politician,
And you really care about the people.
and you care about the people in your community, and you help get this program started, you're gonna be putting a full headdress on, you know.
Right,
You've
right.
done something great, and
Right.
and hopefully it will eventually spread throughout the nation. You know, I mean, we need this throughout the world.
And it will go around the world if we do it starting in our community. But we can't sit back any longer and wait for somebody else to do it for us. We, the people, have to do it for ourselves. As I said, the politicians aren't going to do it for us. We've got to do it. But the thing is also is it's time. We've waited. You know, we've given Washington the opportunity to somehow fix the health care problem that we've had in this country. It's more broken now than ever. Indianapolis, the state capital, they aren't even talking about it. The people on the city council, they aren't talking about it. We've got to start talking about issues like this. We've got to talk about issues like our education system. But we can't even talk about it until we put the necessary communication tools in place to allow each and every one of us to have a voice. You know, I'm excited about this, and I hope everyone is too, Jesse. I mean, you know, we look at the Middle East, they're trying to change their country with guns, and I'm not into guns. I don't think that that's going to solve anything. I think that we've got to do this the right way, the 21st century way.
Well, we need to do it in a peaceful way.
In a peaceful way, because violence begets violence, and nonviolence begets nonviolence, and that's what this is all about. You know, we aren't advocating that people stand up and get guns or go to Washington or anything like that, because I think it's all wrong. But the thing is that if we pick up the necessary communication technology that we have access to, there's really no reason to prevent any of us from not having a voice. And really, if you look at our Constitution, slaves didn't have voices, and conversely, people without voices are slaves. I'm 65. I've never been asked my opinion on any issue, and I know you feel the same way, and I bet most of our viewers are feeling the same way. It's really now time to stand up and be excited about a plan, get behind it, and let's give the people in our community a voice.
Technology's there. All we got to do is fire it up.
Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you like the idea. I hope you're ready to stand up. And if you don't do it for yourself, do it for yourself and the kids in this community and the kids around the country and the kids around the world. Because, look, we know that we live in the greatest country in the world, but it's really not living up to its capabilities. You, the people, know what kind of community you want to live in, but until you have a voice, you can't start building that kind of community. So all we're saying is, look, let's use the technology, let's make this community better than it's ever been, but we can't do it without you. I can't do it by myself, Jesse can't do it by himself, but together, all working together for a common goal, we can make it happen. So this is Dave Frank. I really appreciate you watching the program. I hope you like what we're saying. Jesse, thanks so much for being on the program today. What are your final words? Come on, give us something.
Let's get this ball rolling. Let's do it.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard Jesse. You don't want him mad at you. I'm telling you, this guy's as tough as nails, and he's a great guy, and he really cares about the community, and so do I, and I believe you do too. Let's come together and make this thing happen. See you next time on Stand Up America. Thanks for watching.